Hey guys, welcome back to Bake Me Happy. This week, even though it's really hot in Australia, I thought that I would make a hot drink for everybody in the Northern Hemisphere that's in winter right now. So we are making a s'mores hot chocolate. So I'll show you how to do it. I have 1 cup of milk. I'm using light milk just because that's what we have on hand at the moment. You can use full cream or you can use skim, whatever you like. So I'm going to add to that 1/3 cup of cream. And I'm going to put it in this small saucepan onto the stove for about 3 to 4 minutes and let it heat up. We don't want it to boil, but we just want it to get very, very warm. And then I'll show you the next. So I've got the stove on a low heat and I'm going to leave that for a little while. You don't need to stir it constantly, but you do need to stir it just a little bit so that you don't form a skin on the top and that you don't burn the bottom of the milk. So I'm going to leave that, and while we've got that heating up, we are going to make the marshmallow cream. I've got some marshmallows here. The marshmallows in Australia come in white and pink, so I've just separated the white ones out, and I'm going to melt these down. There's no exact measurement for what I've got here, but I've just got a few marshmallows, and then to put into the marshmallows to make the melting a little bit easier, I've got 2 teaspoons of water, and I'm going to put them in the microwave on 30-second bursts. Now at first they won't look like they're melting, but they will puff up a little bit. As soon as you stir them, they will start to melt, and it's the same with chocolate, they melt by agitation. So put them in for 30-second intervals, and then I'll show you what it's like when they're finished. So these are my marshmallows after the first melting interval. Now 30 seconds is quite a long time, so I'm going to mix this through, and it's already quite melted. Now I added the water just so that it would be a little bit smoother. Now you can see that it's got a lot of lumps still, and you can microwave it to get those out again. I might just microwave it for another 10 seconds to get the lumps out, but I'm going to stir it for a little bit. The bowl is quite hot, so be really careful because marshmallows obviously have a very low melting point. So once I've melted this and I've got it to a smooth consistency from the microwave after another 10 seconds, I'm going to just put it to the side to let it cool off a little bit, because I will be putting this in a piping bag and we don't want to melt the piping bag because that is bad news. I've got my milk and cream mixture here. Now it's just started to steam, and that's when I know that it's hot enough. And I'm going to add 100 grams of dark chocolate. You can use bittersweet, you can use bittersweet chocolate, you can use milk chocolate, you can use anything. So I'm going to leave that for a second, just stir it in really quickly. So the milk's been sitting on the chocolate for a little bit, and I've got a tablespoon, and I'm just going to put a tablespoon of sugar in, using caster sugar, and then just a tiny pinch of espresso coffee. Now this won't make it taste like coffee if that's what you're worried about. It will just kind of bring out the chocolate flavour. This is totally optional. You don't have to put it in if you don't want to, if you don't like the taste of it. Whatever, but I would definitely recommend trying it before you totally rule it out, because it's kind of like salt when you add it to baking. It just kind of intensifies the flavours that are already there instead of adding its own. So I'm going to whisk that through until both of these things are dissolved, and then I'm going to put it back onto the stove to heat up again, and then we're going to pour it into our mug. So that's all mixed in, and I'm going to put it back on the stove. So my milk is hot and it's all finished, so I'm going to pour it into a mug.
Okay.
It's now time for assembly. So I've got the marshmallow fluff in here with a piping tip. It's a large star, you can't really tell, but I'm just going to squeeze that onto the top. If it's going to cooperate with me. So we don't have graham crackers in Australia, so I'm just putting these waffle pieces on the top. A lot of people in Australia do tend to use milk arrowroot, but we decided to use this. And then I'm just going to snip the end off this thing of melted chocolate, drizzle it over the top to make it big and extravagant. And we've made a mess, but it's an awfully delicious one. This is definitely a big and extravagant drink for the holidays, for summer, whenever you feel like a hot chocolate that's just a little bit over the top. The marshmallow and the waffle cone and the melted chocolate over the top just makes everything go above and beyond what you'd ever expect of a hot chocolate. It is a bit messy, but it is definitely worth it because it is so delicious. I would definitely recommend that you try this. Now, The chocolate actually looks very, very messy, but I love the way that it's turned out because when have you ever eaten a s'more and it's been totally clean and no mess was made? So it's very true to the element of a s'more. I'm really happy with it, and I hope that you're happy with it too and that you give it a go, because this is definitely one of my, if not my favourite drink recipe that we've done on this channel. Thank you guys so much for watching the video this week. I really hope that you've enjoyed it, and if you want to see more from me, make sure you hit subscribe so that you can be notified every time I upload a new video. You can get my previous video and my next video just here, and my social media is written all down here and linked in the description box below. I'll see you next time.